Exactly.
We waiting on anybody else?
Nope. That's it. It's all three of us. What's up, ladies and gents? It is Thursday night. It is 7 o'clock my time. I don't give a hell. I don't care where you're at. This is Suplex City Chats. That's right. If you know, you know. Here in Suplex City Chats, you're gonna get the smack-a-down. That's right. I am not alone tonight. To my left, he is the man, the myth, the legend. He is JB3. What's up, brother?
Oh, you know it. You know it. Just doing the thing. I'm ready to talk about some wrestling, man. It's been a crazy couple weeks.
It really has. And then down below him, he is the pain maker, Mr. Ryan Payne. What's up, senor?
I really appreciate the new nickname for today. I got so used to people just saying Mista, so I thought, oh, I'll just be myself. And no, you don't feel a disappoint, Matt. And I am definitely looking forward to talking some wrestling. Man, there's a lot on my mind, but I'm gonna try to keep myself strict and focused so we don't talk over each other.
Well, there's plenty that's been going on lately. I don't even know where to start, I guess. What's weighing on everybody's mind? I'm sure the monkey in the room is going to be Black Wednesday. I'm sure that's going to come up once or twice. And it may lead us into a little bit of a conversation we're going to have. So, personally, I understand why WWE did it. I mean, because until everything kind of lifts off, they're going to have a limited roster anyways. But it's the way they went about it. If they hadn't been, oh, I like you, let's keep you, so somebody can't get you. Oh, I like you, let's get you, and then just sit at the performance center. If we get you, we get you. If not, well, you're still drawing a paycheck. So, I understand why they did it, but it's still kind of shitty that it happened. One of the biggest surprises to me was still Drake Maverick, because he's still on wrestling TV. And if this whole thing's a work that, I'm going to bust my ass to get back on, get this title so I can stay on TV, that's some shady shit right there.
Well, let's be honest. It's not the shadiest thing they've done. There's been actually reports and people done testimonies to where they've been fired from WWE and then immediately rehired back the next day. I mean, some of my favorite examples were Tenille Dashwood, who was Emma. I mean, she was fired from main roster, then she shows back up on NXT the next day. And even reports from past interviews or whenever wrestlers talk, Eddie Guerrero has had instances where he was fired and then rehired immediately. So has I can't remember this other wrestler. It's probably from one of either Jericho Network or from the 83 Weeks. But they also talked about that. Maybe it was Perry Saturn or if it was Dean Malenko, but it was one of the Radicals, though. I mean, there's been a lot of issues in the past. I just think with this whole release, yeah, I agree. I don't like the way it was done. The fact that they thought, we'll just release this full, not just the wrestlers, but also staff members, too, who's been there for a long time, like the referee, Mike Chioda. He's been with them. Yeah, it was ridiculous. And other than Drake Maverick, there was some good talent that they got rid of, like NXT talents, like Deonna Purrazzo, who she's well known amongst the indies, like mainly a Ring of Honor mainstay. And then, personally, a few picks I was pissed off about was mainly Peyton Royce. I mean, they haven't used her at the start of the year. I liked her gimmick with Billie Kay. They're like a great tandem unit. And then they release her, but they keep Billie Kay, though. So negatives, I don't like she was released. With positives, perhaps we'll see her and Shawn Spears now together on AEW. But that's if she decides to, if she still wants to continue working as a wrestler.
That's crazy to me because I did not even know you just said that he got released. I knew about Curtis Axel. He just got released today.
I just read that. I literally was just reading that before we went live.
But you know what it is? I mean, it's Vince McMahon. Like his craziness is just bleeding through the cracks now because he's just losing it and he can't hold it anymore. Yeah. He makes these random decisions. Like he was gonna tape and then he thought that he was gonna lose, money from the TV deals. So then let's go live, and then the TV deals are like, oh, man, you don't have to go live. So then it's like you just fire everyone. Like he's obviously losing it, and you could tell with like the promo on SmackDown, the way he was talking, everything that he has done.
I was half in and half out. Sorry.
Oh gosh, it's just it's turning into the W, and now like the WWE could literally, like, we're looking at possibly Disney or somebody buying a WWE now because Vince is losing his mind. And then
it's crazy. Yeah, going back to that promo, that was just weird. He just kind of struts out like, you know what? I don't care. We're good. And then, drops this like zingers that don't really hit. Like the whole thing was just, the whole segment was really bad. Like it started out funny, like, me and my boy, we're gonna, give each other a hard time, and then it just kind of, and then everybody started calling, and then Ric Flair called twice just to cry. I'm like, I mean, we all know Ric Flair is losing his shit anyways, but I mean,
I swear that the segment was so forgettable that the only thing I do remember is when Triple H wanted to do his water spit, a staff member with a mask on just grabs the water ball from it, and he's just, oh, come on. And then of course he and Michaels, they did have like a good back and forth because those guys have great chemistry because they're good friends. But yeah, once the calls came in, once Vince started showing up, I thought, okay, can you guys just end this with Braun coming out and destroying you guys, or have the Fiend come out and give you guys a big choke?
I kind of thought the Fiend would have come. Like I was reading, like it would have made things a little bit funnier or better if like the Fiend had just randomly came out, because I'm sure they could have come up with some reason for the Fiend to attack him.
Also, probably a good setup. Like after the whole Universal title between him and Braun happens, we can set up maybe Triple H for the hell of it wants to fight the Fiend.
I see. Okay. I guess we'll get into the little fantasy booking I've got. You got to bear with me because it'll all play together. I want to see the Money in the Bank ladder match, because we already know that because of Apollo Crews, there's one spot open. Yes, it's going to be a gauntlet match on Raw for it, but let's just push that aside. Have the Fiend enter the match, and we already know it's going to be similar to like the Boneyard match or the Firefly Funhouse match. It's going to be more of a cinematic match. We already know that. Yeah. Have the Fiend win the briefcase, and then go on throughout the card, and have the Firefly Funhouse break, lose to Braun, and then the lights go out. When they come back up, the Fiend is there. He attacks Braun and hands the ref the briefcase and wins the Universal title. So Braun still looks big because he beat Bray, but then they correct giving up the belt to Goldberg to begin with.
I mean, that doesn't sound bad, honestly. And to be honest, I could see something like that if we do get the Fiend in Money in the Bank. But to me, it feels like in all honesty, for the replacement spot for Cruz, it feels like they're just gonna get somebody like they're either gonna put in like Andrade or Angel Garza or Austin Theory, because they've been heavily leaning a lot on Zelina Vega and her three compatriots. So it feels to me one of them might get a spot. Or they could possibly bring back, I mean, has AJ Styles been doing anything recently? Because after the Boneyard match, not seeing a lot of him. And since the release of Gallows and Anderson, we can have a good comeback for him.
Well, don't forget, AJ Styles is buried in some kind of Louisiana, he's stuck in some bayou somewhere. No,
but it wouldn't walk past me if they bring AJ back. But because of his response to the releases, it seems to me that even though he's going to be a company man, at this moment he probably just doesn't feel like he's up to it coming back after the release of his two good brothers.
I don't know. And they're going to go to New Japan. That would be my bet. Is they're going to go back and they're going to reform Bullet Club. They're going to go back to Bullet Club.
Yeah, I could see that happen. They could totally go back to Bullet Club because, for one, they know they're going to get good money there. Well, they're going to get okay money there, but they know they're going to get good pushes. They're going to get the belts. That they'll get what they want there. It kind of sucks though that they got taken away like that because they signed big money deals. Like a lot of people signed big money deals. You kind of feel bad for a lot of guys because you got a lot of like some of these guys. They can go places. They can. Like Zack Ryder, he's gonna go. Him and Kurt, they're gonna go. Where they're gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Revival, which actually they weren't a part of the Black Wednesday. They were a little bit.
No, they have requested a long time to be released. It was just like circumstances at this moment.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, it's funny because they came out like a couple days ago and said whoever wants their release can have it. They should have did that in the first place. They would have probably had the same results. But then you turn around and you just got rid of a bunch of people. But like I feel bad for Heath Slater. I'm hoping that Heath Slater gets ripped, comes back and wins the WWE Championship. Because I mean, that would be everything. You guys are saying people that got fired and came back. I mean, Drew, Gender, everybody. There's a lot.
I see Gender and getting that missing Money in the Bank spot because he'd already said he wasn't going to come back till they had a good story for him. Which then, if he wins the briefcase, we could see Gender versus Drew for the Universal title.
That'd be fair.
I would and there is a story set up there too between Gender and Drew.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is a definite story there. Of course, their history with 3MB, but also the fact that Gender was the first one among them to get a championship. So, and the fact is, Drew is the WWE champion. So Gender can always say he's coming back to reclaim his title that he unfairly lost, even though, because he's a heel, he can spin it however he wants.
I wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready. Right.
I was blindsided.
But yeah. So, okay. Is it safe to assume that the Revolt or Revival, whatever you want to call them right now, is it safe to say we all three agree where they're going?
Oh, yeah.
I mean
they pretty much teased it on being the Elite already anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
they did.
They basically said it. But I have to wonder if they're going to have a kind of a contract similar to like Mox and Jericho where they can work outside promotions.
I'm pretty sure AEW, they don't want to lock down wrestlers to their company. They're open to having people with other bookings down. I mean, I know Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, Jimmy Havoc. They have. I mean, Jimmy Havoc especially. He has contracts in he's worked in other companies like MLW while working with AEW. Same as been with Darby Allin. Though, even though he's hired at AEW, they said that they're more than welcome for him to try to book any other shows, just as long as they don't. If he's booked for a pay-per-view, it doesn't conflict with it, like any booking dates.
Yeah, Jimmy Havoc's gonna headline, Double or Nothing 3 and get set on fire at a CZW match the night before. It won't make it.
I mean, if
there still is an issue with the states having companies work with each other. And it doesn't happen as easy as like Mox going to Japan. But to be honest with you, if the Revival or the Revolt or whatever, I wouldn't really want to see them go to Japan. I kind of would like to see them form a working relationship with ROH and mainly NWA for them. And the one person who I think can make that happen is Marty Scurll. He can make it happen.
It's funny you said that because Marty Scurll was initially supposed I've talked to some people who know some people who know some people. Marty Scurll was supposed to be originally the Exalted One.
Well, that makes sense, but he decided he got that big deal.
And then it hasn't really come out, but it kind of has, that the Young Bucks were the ones who told him to take that deal with the with ROH.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no to that deal. I mean, he not only is he getting, not only does he have like a good contract, but he's also going to be involved in some creative decisions. And for the Bucks themselves, being able to work freely, have creative control over their story, it would help Marty even further. I mean, what he's been doing so far with Ring of Honor with his Villain Enterprises, and then the matches he's had against Nick Aldis in NWA, the story that's set up between those two. I mean,
could you? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it just hit me. Could you imagine seeing the Revival versus the Rock and Roll Express, man?
That would be fantastic, especially since the Revival, they are 100% like they're mainly technical wrestlers, they're brawlers. So having them, I believe they can, even though it won't be like a barn burner match against Rock and Roll Express, but they'll be able to put on a show. That's for sure.
It's a good story. Oh my gosh! I love them.
Or else even the Revival against the Briscoes in Ring of Honor. Heck.
Oh yeah.
Or even the Kingdom.
Okay, so it's pretty it's pretty much a given that they're going to AEW. What about just as a squash to kind of get them like for their premiere or like when they debut or whatever, have them go against the Guns?
Oh, Gun Club.
Gun Club. I don't know why I was like,
no, that's fine. That's fine. That would seem like a good start. I mean, technically, they're the only stable face tag team currently right now that's working because this whole shutdown. I mean, every other tag team match on the AEW has always been just pairings. It's outside of now with Jimmy Havoc and there's Best Friends. Sorry, Best Friends and Gun Club are the only stable tag teams that's on there. But now with the pairing of
you got QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes though now too, and Dustin's come out and said he wants to focus more on tag teaming with him. So I kind of like that personally.
Okay.
I don't know. I like the Gun Club is perfect. I mean, you can imagine like Billy Gunn's son. They could like isolate him and absolutely destroy his knee or something, just like they did to DIY and Johnny. You know what I'm saying? And then like Billy would be like, "No, my son, no!" And then they could get heat by just like twisting his kneecap around and pulling it off a couple times. It's crazy stuff.
I could see that.
I could too. Okay, what do you guys think of Kip and Jimmy Havoc? Do you think that's going to go somewhere? I mean, they are officially roommates in real life, so they've kind of got a relationship already. Do you think that's just going to be a one-off, or do you think we could actually say, because that match last night was really impressive? Like,
it was. I'm more impressed with Jimmy Havoc than I am with Kip Sabian, though. I do like Kip, but I think. I mean, if it would work, I think they could do something with it. But I would much rather see Jimmy Havoc, like as a singles. He's really good. Like I'm surprised everyone thinks that he's just blood and guts. I mean, he is, but that guy can wrestle.
That was dominating his career. But even in some of his matches in Britain, he was able to put on some good technical classics. And even now with the change of style, like because in MLW. He's doing regular singles matches. Like he's paired with he has Priscilla Kelly as his valet in MLW, and when he comes to even the most recent string of matches before his pairing with Kip, he's strictly been staying to singles. He's not doing his out of control stuff like bringing out the staple gun and stapling people like he did last year before he revamped himself.
Staple the check to him. There's my
here's my check, bitch.
It's like you want if I can get another fight, okay, here you go. Staple that to the wall.
And it's funny as we started talking about blood and guts, and that kind of made me think of the bad boy himself, Joey Janela. What do you think of Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss? I like this team just because of like their polar opposites. Like Sonny Kiss is kind of the, for lack of better terms, flamboyant, kind of golden era wrestler, and Jimmy Havoc's this straight up just savage, almost Japan strong style wrestler.
Well, I think you mean Joey. Joey.
Yeah,
Joey. he's like a hybrid to me. He can do whatever, but the few tags on Dark that I've seen with those two, I've been cool with it. Sunny Kiss, I ain't gonna lie. The first time I seen Sunny Kiss wrestle, I was like, man, I don't know if I can watch this dude wrestle. But I started watching the story being told, and they just watching like Sunny Kiss is really good. Like,
Yes.
so,
and he
like,
uses that.
and they're a good team.
And he uses that character to just like go off.
I mean, Sonny is very like amazingly athletic, honestly. He's able to do scorpion kicks, like really nail down backflip elbows on the corners. And while I don't know how they're going to keep selling that flying leg guillotine he uses as a finisher, but hopefully he'll get something that will fit more to his style, or at least to his personality, that he can use to sell. Because at this moment, some of the dark matches, he and Joey do actually seem to gel very well, especially with Joey always being like a wild man. And then you have Sonny, who's flamboyant. So they're sort of similar personalities, but on different spectrums that they're kind of like floating above each other. You know, like sooner or later, they're going to find that point where they meet in the middle, or, you know, they're always going to be further apart. But hopefully I would love to see them actually be a team on Dynamite. I still look forward to seeing them on Dark, without a doubt. But it was kind of weird at first, because when they kept shuffling Sonny around with different partners, first it was Dustin, then for a while he had a couple of matches with Brandon Cutler, but it seems now they're doing something special with Cutler by having him and Peter Avalon with this losing streak. I think that's hilarious. But with Sonny Kiss, the moment like they really start to dial down on him and push him and Joey forward, I can't wait to see the odd pairing of tag team matches they're going to have. Them against Jurassic Express, them against Private Party, them against the Dark Order, them against Kip and Jimmy Havoc, you know, especially with Joey having issues with Jimmy and Kip. Well, no, mainly Kip and Penelope.
I just don't want the tag division to get oversaturated, because that's why I love Dark, because Dark, they can do that kind of stuff. They can like test the waters. I mean, who would have known that Kenny Omega and Hangman Page would have been such a great tag team? Like, I didn't even consider them as because the first time they tagged together on AEW, I was like, oh, this is some makeshift tag team, okay. And then I seen them chemistry together, and I'm like, I'm okay with this. Like, and they told a story, you know, and they brought the whole story together throughout their whole tag team together. Like, you know, I can dig that, because if there's one thing about AEW, because, you know, like we had this whole year of AEW, and everyone wants to be on the high train, and you don't want to complain about it, or you don't want to say anything bad about it, but there's some flaws. Like, one of them is to make, like, I get sick and tired of seeing like Kenny Omega team with Matt Hardy. I mean, I get it, but they're gonna build some story with it that's gonna go in the future. But when they like do that stuff, it's just like it gets to me. Like, you got tag team rankings and you got these random tags.
Right.
That is true. And even though I admire AEW always bringing in new talent to on Dark or even on Dynamite, but, you know, when they keep doing the whole wins and losses matter and all, what happens if, you know, we get an established team like with let's say we have best friends going up against an enhancement talent team, and then for some reason they lose because of shenanigans, you know, because with the team they're feuding with. Is that enhancement talent now going to be on more Dark matches, or was that just a one-off possibility? You know, that was the biggest negative I was having with AEW during their start off. Wins and losses matter, and then, you know, they start and then, you know, it's like they're shoving it down our throats to the point. Let's just focus on the wrestling first, and then we can incorporate the wins and losses. I mean, they're doing it now much better since they reset it. But it's still kind of frustrating when you want to keep putting makeshift teams together on Dynamite or on Dark, and technically it's going to come to your overall record, but as your record for an established tag team, it won't matter. Kind of like how with even though Nick is out, when Matt was out and Nick was doing some singles wrestling, that match against against Ray Phoenix, god damn, that was awesome. I kind of wanted to see some more singles matches that Nick was going to be in, but that was just a one-off.
Yeah, Nick really did well in that match. I was totally ready to see him do some single stuff. Just for fun.
Okay, since we're talking about Young Bucks and singles, should we talk about BTE 200?
I love it.
I absolutely love that match. That looks like something you would have seen in your backyard wrestling with your boys. Just having fun with
they did everything. Everything they're good at, they put in that match.
That Canadian Destroyer into the pool spot was brilliant. Like, I just loved it. And then he's like, "Get in here, ref." And the ref's like, he just jumps in. I expected the ref to kind of slowly hop in. He just straight up dives in.
Flops in there.
That power bomb on the deck. Oh, there was a couple spots. The tornado DDT in the yard. Like, they did good. And then I didn't know this because I didn't watch PWG or CCW or any of those things. I kind of should have. But when Matt brought out that spiked boot,
oh God!
Evidently, that's something he did back then when he was like going to be sadistic or something.
Oh, and PWG, that was always a straight up. Like, they would do the spiked boot. They would even play around. I think once I saw a match to where they had gummies, and the crowd was just so into it that he hits a wrestler with a gum. I think it was Candace. Yeah, he super kicks Candace with gummy bears, and they just start yelling, "You sick! You sick!" Like, that crowd, they were 100% down with wrestling. Like, if you got them, you could literally take a broom or a plastic doll, and give them a hell of a match.
Well, yeah, he pulled out that boot though, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like. I had heard before that they'd done stuff like this, so I went back and watched some of it. But I'm just like, holy shit, this is gonna be just yeah. I'm like, oh, like I had like John Moxley flashbacks, man. That match between him and Kenny Omega, I was like, oh my God.
That was incredible.
When that match was going on, when he was sweeping his back. To me I was like, ugh. I thought I seen a couple bits of flesh pop up.
And then that suplex into that, I'm sure 90% of it was fake barbed wire, but that pull, oh my God. Like, I had flashbacks to that. I didn't expect him to get that hardcore with the boot. And then all of a sudden he just super kicks his shit out of him. I'm like,
but you look, not only just those moments, they were doing so much theatricality. Like when Nick was trying to pile drive Matt, or he was trying to hit him with a weapon, Matt's always like, "Are you freaking kidding me? You trying to kill me here?" And it was just like Nick was doing, like, I love the build up to that match, and they pulled it throughout every time. Nick was just like, I'm going to murder you. I'm going to destroy you. Yeah. And that's just we're fighting here. This is just a match. I even love how they even did shades to Michaels and Ric Flair. God, I'm sorry.
I love you. Yeah, it was just that whole match was great. Yeah, I went back and watched it again because it wasn't just funny. It was everything you could imagine. Like, that's one thing I hate to say that I really kind of like about these empty arena things is you can actually hear them talk shit, or you can hear the blows. You know, like when somebody gets like just a serious chop, you can hear it. It's like, oh God.
Yeah. And what AEW even does best with those empty arenas, they get the wrestlers there, so you can actually build out some future matches or some future storylines. Like, the empty arenas have done very well. They've made Britt very well. They've done Britt very well, actually. Britt Baker, like when she attacked Cody with her shoe, and then her empty arena match against Sheeta, where she got her nose busted, had a a la Becky Lynch moment. And her role model segments. I mean, geez, I swear, if we had gotten Britt this early on when AEW was starting, and then the moment they did turn her face, the crowd, she would have immediately been, I think, AEW Women's Champion before Nyla Rose was.
I like her as a heel, though. Like, I don't like the fact that they tried to push into that DMD thing as a face, because it just didn't work. But now that they've kind of gone, you know what, this really didn't work. Let's just try and make you kind of a bitch. It works. Like her and Tony spots are great. Like last night when they're going through her office and they've got like the pictures of her and shit, and like she's like, if you're fat,
Tony's like everything about Tony that's wrong.
They had one picture of Adam Cole, by the way.
I did see that.
I noticed that.
It's real brief. You have to notice it, but there is a picture. And I think it's funny is when they showed that takeover, like they were talking about that takeover where they show her. I was like, oh my God, she's going to get so much trouble. And she's like, no, they were cool with it. You know, Tony Khan was cool with it. He's like, you know what? It happens. I think they set it up, you know, kind of a look, your girl's here.
Yeah, because Britt Baker was the most Googled thing about that whole show.
So he was after that air raid crash, the moment they saw her face, every smart goes, wait, they actually allowing that? And then, of course, you know, they tried to duplicate that again on Dynamite, but it's like, no, you can't duplicate, you can't replicate. That was a 1 out of 100 moments. That it was a lightning in a bottle, and they were able to continue.
But it's hard for AEW though. NXT tried to pull that one over, and I say points go to AEW for that one.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
they don't take themselves that they don't. They love what they do, but they don't try to take themselves super seriously. So I like how the fact they were cool with her being at NXT. I mean, she's supporting her boyfriend. I mean, what are they? What are they, monsters? Like,
look at Nicole, Renee Young. She's getting all kinds of backstage heat because Mox photobombed her. He wasn't even doing anything. He picked up the dog, made a quick gesture, and was out. And and Mox has come out and said she's getting some serious backstage heat for that. I'm sorry, but they're at home.
I like the fact that AEW's cool about it. That's why I think Vince and this others being monsters. You can't control what happens during their personal and home lives. If Mox just wants to pull a rib on Renee with their dog, okay, fine. Just accept it, let it go. This was a shutdown happening at the time. And the fact they're giving her this much heat pisses me off, which is why a part of me is actually when I did read the news during the reason that Peyton Royce was let go, I'm like, great. Now I don't have to worry about her having to, because on Instagram she has stories and photos of her and Sean Spears, you know, together. So Vince is always 100% anal about don't post yourself with photos with Brad. Keep kayfabe alive, but technically, even he breaks that shit. So I like the fact that Peyton's gone. So once this whole thing clears up, maybe we'll see Peyton on some indies, or she'll just show up as Sean's new valet, kind of like what they did with Britt's new Britt's makeup artist, Rebel. Yeah, I recognized her immediately. They showed her. I'm like, oh, I've seen her in Impact. I've seen her in the Indies. Hell, she's been their makeup artist since they started. Actually,
I think that this could maybe lead to something between her and Britt down the line.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. You know what I wouldn't mind seeing is if that happens, if she comes in as Sean Spears' valet, he has to keep Tully for one, but for two, she has to lead him to beat Cody for the TNT championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that would have to happen. And spoiler, I think that Cody's going to win the TNT championship.
No, that was fantastic, man. Because if a big if Peyton Royce does show up and Cody does win that, the booking I see at All Out will be fantastic. Because last year at All Out, when Cody versus Sean Spears, and of course Cody won, it can be once again Cody and Sean Spears for the TNT Championship. Cody comes out with his Nightmare family. Arn Anderson, his coach, Brandy, his wife, and then guess who's in Sean's corner? His representative, Tully Blanchard, and his wife, Peyton Royce, or whatever her name's going to be now that she's not with WWE anymore.
That's if. Okay,
I know let's be for real. That's like my favorite. That's a favorite now. That's
a good one. I'll give you that. That's a good one. Something I do like though, they've been foreshadowing Cody versus Lance from day one. Like I didn't even see it till recently. you know, as much as Jake the Snake Roberts and Lance have been calling out Cody, I probably should have seen it coming. But I really want this belt on Lance just because he is running through people. Let him take out Cody and then have Cody like fall, not off the card, but just and have to rebuild.
Yeah, but can't you see the seeds that they're planting with Cody? I mean,
oh yeah, I can't.
Like the whole thing with Brandy, the whole thing, like normally, okay, back in the day, let's talk about ROH, okay? Back when he was in ROH, they used to pull that stunt all the time. Throw someone into Brandy, she falls down, they get all concerned, Cody takes over the match, Brandy gets up, they laugh together. Yeah, we're awesome.
Spears someone when the ref's distracted. Yeah.
Right. But this time that didn't happen. This time, you know, she went to the back and then she came back with a water bottle or whatever. She was hurting. She was like, I want to be there for my husband, whatever. But they never played the whole she was happy about it. I'm pretty sure that this is my if you want to, I'm gonna fantasy book this whole tournament and what's gonna happen. I think that Cody's.
Let's hit that real quick.
This is my prediction. I think that Cody's going to win the tournament. I think that Cody's going to win the tournament.
Okay.
And then, and then after Cody went, no, I'm sorry. I do not think that Cody's going to win the tournament. I was mistaken. Let me flip my brain back around. No, this is my prediction. Cody is going to lose the tournament. Lance is going to win the tournament. Mm-hmm. It's gonna jack Cody up so much that he's gonna turn heel, and when he turns heel, he's gonna find a way to get an AEW World Championship shot. He's gonna be pissed off about the whole MJF thing. Either that or they're gonna continue that feud. But Cody's gonna turn heel eventually, and he's gonna get a world title shot. In fact, I think that stipulation got put in place just for that moment, just to get heat.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, then let's say hypothetically he does turn heel. So then do you see it being Mox versus Cody for the title?
I could see that. Mox would be a good pick for that to happen with. He's pretty much the top baby face right now. Everybody loves him. Yeah. He's undefeated, pretty much.
So, I like that idea. I actually like that, and I think that'd be a hell of a match. I wasn't really a big fan of Mox and Jake Hager, just because
Me neither.
The problem I had with it is they called it a no holds barred empty arena and blah. You know, they had all these stipulations on it.
Yeah,
it was basically just a technical wrestling, almost an MMA match. I would have rather called it, an MMA match.
True. I mean, yeah, that match to me personally felt like it went on about 10 minutes, a little too long. Like if this was a straight 20 or hell, an 18-minute match, that could have been a great cap to the night. But when they gave it a whole half hour. I mean, JR was fantastic on commentary. I don't care what people are going to say about him. He carried that goddamn match on commentary. But moving forward, if Mox is going to be pushed, because he's defeated the biggest heel, which is Jericho, and so far they're going to have him feud a little bit with the Inner Circle. So you're going to need to step a new heel, and Cody could be that new heel, or Cody does beat Lance Archer. Let's say Jake Roberts goes, you know what? He goes and does a promo on Cody where he goes, you know what? I wanted to get your attention and show you how dangerous my client is. But it seems that and then let's just say the situation with him and his client being put for this TNT championship is a little too small. Like, it's not big enough to get your attention. So then they decide to turn their eyes towards Moxley and say during one of Moxley's matches after he wins, guess who shows up? It's Lance Archer. He clobbers him, nearly destroys him in the ring, to which Moxley's out of the ring for maybe a couple weeks. And then, of course, he does a promo saying that I just dealt with one big tough guy. I dealt with one monster. It's time for me to deal with another one. And so him and Lance Archer fighting each other would be fantastic because also, if I recall, when Mox was in Japan, he was the IWGP US title, but when he had to drop that, who was the one who picked it up? Lance Archer.
And he beat Lance for that title.
Yes. So then you can call back to the roots.
Bleed everywhere.
Call back to their roots in New Japan. My God, Jake Robertson saying, Lance, he's going to do unfinished. This is him getting his unfinished business.
Right. Hey, and speaking of doing things that they do in Japan, I love they have some random guy every time walk out went during Lance Archer's entrance, just so he could just knock the shit out of him. Excuse my language.
I know.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh my gosh, man. That's one thing. Like in Japan, he would just beat people up on the way to the ring. Like,
oh, I know. He just walked past somebody, just clock, and just
either a young lion or just a stand-in.
But if they do Lance versus Mox, it's gotta be a hardcore match. Like these two have to get bloody for it to work, in my opinion. Because like the match they had in Japan, yes, I know it's basically a no disqualification Falls Count Anywhere match that they had. Their Texas Street Fight or whatever they want to call it was basically just a no DQ any Falls Count Anywhere match. But it was fantastic. Like the storytelling between the two of them were fantastic. And why not have, Mox up celebrating, doing his thing, like his half concussed promo like he cut after beating Jericho. Like he almost sounded like he was drunk. It's time for a couple of beers. It's beer 30, and going off. And then all of a sudden just, and not have him come down the ramp, because you see that coming. Have him cut through the crowd like they do in New Japan and just plummet that shit out of him. Have Mox cut himself and just get up covered in blood, and then have even Jake Roberts on the Titantron or standing at the ramp going, he's come back for a little revenge from Japan, and just leave it at that.
Yeah. That would have been a good way for him to debut, I think. In fact, I wouldn't have minded him taking Hager's spot in that match.
Yeah, and even if he would have, gone on his back for Mox, that would have been great. I do want to point out this whole time we've basically been talking about AEW, which is fantastic in my point of view, because
it's great.
There's not really a whole lot going on WWE. Next week, like I said, we'll all come together again. We'll set up another discussion, and we'll do a prediction for Money in the Bank that following weekend. But
there is one thing I do want to discuss regarding WWE. And other than the releases, regarding a certain wrestler that made her reappearance back on to Monday Night Raw.
Oh, God.
A very nasty spot on the Kairi Sane, and to where she's been getting a lot of flack. To me, I'm going to drop the pretense. I'm talking about Nia Jax here. Look, Nia, I think when she has a wrestler who knows how to work with her, can put on a great match. When Nia does not know when to control herself in the ring or know when to set up somebody properly, it's clear that you can tell that there's botches happening across. I don't want to knock Nia. What she does is difficult. And look, she trains a lot in the Performance Center from what I'm aware of. I mean, she has to, because she's dealing with wrestlers who are pretty much like half a size smaller than her, length and weight-wise. So when I saw that spot she did on Kairi Sane weeks ago, I was furious. And then, of course, all the rumors and comments I'm hearing from people saying that Kairi yelled out, "I'm not set," or she said something in Japanese that was meant to be an insult. But even then, that little head bump she took on that lower tier turnbuckle was nasty. And then I hear again that ever since Nia's on screen, I'm always like half paying attention, because her promos are never that great. And the only thing she can ever do is mean mug. That she can do great is mean mug. I think Nia can be booked well as a dominant monster. She just can't have more than a 5-minute match. In a way like Goldberg, you got book them under like 3 minutes or less. But give them wrestlers that can actually give them matches. That's why I don't like when they have her squash Deonna Purrazzo. They have her squash Santana Garrett. Those are wrestlers who have worked their asses off in the indies that can give you good 10 to 12-minute matches. So when you have them squash into 3 minutes, That's it. But other than that, just the botches she does bothers me. I'm like, you guys really either need to put her on the leash, or for fuck's sake, she should have been the one that's gone through the Black Wednesday.
But yeah, when it comes to that, I think that it comes down to the pattern. I think that because she never injured anybody in NXT, she had pretty good matches in NXT.
True, yeah.
I think it just goes to the whole NXT versus the main roster thing.
Yeah.
Every time someone goes up there, they're either going to get pushed bad, they're going to get injured, like Tommaso Ciampa did, or they're going to, whoever's producing her matches, and like there's something off from when she was in NXT and someone was producing the matches down there to whoever's producing the matches and the main roster where she's at now, and they're not coming at her and telling her like Corny would tell him, don't do that. Like you tell them they can't do that. Like
yeah.
It has been. That's like one of that. Yeah, and that is one of the biggest differences you see when you see wrestlers from NXT go up to the main roster. The way the matches are produced, the injury rates. Like Samoa Joe, for God's sake, the only time he ever really got hurt is when he legit either got a nose busted or he was cut open. But when he goes onto the main roster, guess what happens? He hurts his shoulder, he hurts his knees, he tweaks a muscle. And same with the Revival as well. Their huge push from their call-up was cut short because Dash Wilder was out. And then Scott Dawson fell out. It took over a year for them to come back, and the heat had died down to where they had nothing for them.
Yeah. Speaking of something, Subrath wants us to watch a couple of videos. So, gentlemen, I'm going to share my screens real quick. Application window.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about this. So let me. Oh, hold on. I screwed up. Hold on. I got to do this the right way because my dumbass hasn't done this enough. So give me just a minute. I got to remember to share sound, share audio. All right. So what do you guys think about the Subrath was really excited about?
The top 1% is a character.
Oh.
Jamie is a character that I can do better than anybody else. There's a reality that I simply imitate.
I don't know what the hell's going on. My internet's acting laggy, guys. I do apologize.
No worries, man.
There is a true top 1% of power, hierarchy, a charlatan's cabal who have entered us into a creative totalitarianism. They abhor free speech. They punish you for revealing your true self. And then they wash their hands of you when a worldwide pandemic affects their bottom line. I accept that. Do you? Reject their narrative. Reject their falsifications of history. Reject their commands for obedience. Free yourself. You have been warned.
Okay, so that's part one, and then let me go back and share part two. Just because he name dropped MJF right there.
Yeah, he did.
So I have to. It kind of goes back to our conversation a little earlier about possibly. And then here's the second part of that.
Some of the strongest, smartest, most capable people who ever performed. I see all this talent, and their skill wasted. An entire generation putting their bodies, their souls on the line to entertain, and for what?
Okay,
shut up. Money? Fame? Passion. There is no purpose for what we do because we've been told that if you work hard, you pay your dues, you do the right thing, that you can live.
Damn it, I need to stop doing that apparently.
Give it some time.
Your dream. But our dream is policed by a dark room within a corporation. Our dreams have become nightmares. I've realized this. And now, I have nothing to lose. you have been warned.
So, okay, gents.
That was a good one. I liked both. I mean, I remember I watched both of them. I still like them. I liked how he did a bit of a tease at Bray Wyatt there. I mean, not taking shots, but the second one makes a lot. I mean, every one of them makes a lot of sense, including the second one. I mean, it's plainly obvious. The whole line, every time that every promo happens, I work hard, I bust my ass, I achieve my dreams. You don't achieve your dreams in that company. You only achieve your dreams when the time is right or if they like you. I don't want to say that not every wrestler should work there, but it's very apparent when you see such great talent that is the Revival, that is EC3, that is Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks. When you see people like them and you see when they're being cultivated right and then when they're being mishandled. I mean, everything EC3 says has always a level of truth to it. I mean, look, it doesn't mean I'm not going to stop watching WWE. I still think sooner or later they're going to get the point right to where they realize we are going to finally start putting talent forward. But in the meantime, I hope these vignettes that EC3's been doing actually works.
Well, and it's funny is I like the fact he took shots at MJF because we need somebody, because he's basically the biggest heel in AEW right now. Hell, he was complaining he's out due to an injury, and it was a damn, ingrown fingernail or some shit.
Oh, the latest one his injury was he cut himself shaving.
There you go. And I love the fact that he is the ultimate heel. Like his heel persona doesn't change. Like, you have wrestlers where you meet them, like when you were on the Jericho cruise. I knew people that were saying he was in character the whole fucking time. Like
100%.
Like there were kids up there that went to see him and he was a straight up dick. And it's like,
not just the kids, he was a dick to babies, he was a dick to the elderly, a dick to handicapped people. Here's this one.
He charges $500 on Cameo right now.
I know, I saw that. He fucking charges $500, and like Christopher Daniels charges $20 to read a comic book for kids.
Oh, Priscilla Kelly will charge you just like $20 or $25. But actually, my favorite MJF story from the cruise was he was in line at one of the buffet areas. Of course, a fan was coming up to him, wanting to ask his autograph, and then of course he kept ignoring him. And then the fan starts, trying to just be a fan, does like a heelish or facish promo, like you're being inconsiderate, you're being nothing but an asshole. And then all of a sudden, when he mugs MJF perfectly in character, he yells out, "Rape," and starts running from the buffet. Rape. I don't know what the hell that was. I mean, from that story, it was hilarious. And of course, my personal favorite MJF story, of course, is when I went to take a photo with him. And of course, at the time, I brought my own I brought my own belts I bought. And of course, there was a WWE belt. He looks at it. He just says that I don't want to look at it anymore. I tease him and go, "Okay, there's a trash can. Why don't you take it there?" He walks past me, grabs that title, and dumps it in the trash right in front of me. I'm just, son of a bitch. I asked for it.
What we're looking for. God, that's great. So I kind of like the idea of maybe EC3 coming over, because back to going to NXT, he was a fucking monster in NXT, or even in Impact. He was great. Like, he's a great character wrestler, so I like that idea.
Actually, if he goes back to Impact, I would not say no to it, because despite its ups and downs, that company is still providing itself with some good workhorse wrestlers. Like, one of my favorite female wrestlers, my favorite new female wrestlers, Kylie Ray, she signed a contract with Impact, so she's going to be there for a while.
Right.
And I've seen, and even when she came back from wrestling after her time away, when I saw her independent programs, nothing short of fantastic. Her intergender, her 30-minute Iron Man's, triple threat matches, intergender matches against men. She put on fantastic performances. So
okay.
Impact does a great thing. Impact does great things with their female division, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Honest question. Little boys asked a couple of times. How do you feel about Orange Cassidy? Are you pro Orange Cassidy or are you not freshly squeezed?
No pulp ever.
Damn. I like that answer.
Freshly squeezed. He's the most over. In my opinion, he's the most over character.
And he's had 2 fucking matches, 2 official matches, and they were both fantastic. Like I like the whole like one of the spots is I don't even remember when it was. Oh, it wasn't. It was on Being the Lead, I think, where Kenny Omega and Nakazawa were talking about them, and they're like, "Well, if we're gonna tag, we need to have a name." And he's like, "Well, best friends." And it's like, "But no, we already have a best friends." And all of a sudden, like the bathroom door opens, and Orange Cassidy is he just looks at him like, "What the fuck?" and he's great. Or he reminds me of the R-Truth of AEW. I mean, I know you can't really make the compare. You can make the comparison because they're both comedy wrestlers and so forth, and they both are really talented.
Mm-hmm.
But anytime R-Truth's on screen, you're going to get a laugh, and he's going to get a pop. Like during the Royal Rumble or something, somebody went under the ring and pulled out a ladder, and R-Truth is just kicking it there.
Yeah. He even did that when he got into a Royal Rumble. He pulled out a ladder and climbed up because he thought it was Money in the Bank.
And see, I can see, and I can see Orange Cassidy maybe not having that same exact role, but you know what I'm talking about. Somebody that can appeal to the kids, because they've said the most cosplayed character in AEW is Orange Cassidy. Their highest merch seller is Orange Cassidy, and he's only had 2 full matches. But if you go back and watch his indie stuff, like on YouTube, there's a video where he fought the Velveteen Dream. It's fucking fantastic.
I mean, he's had even in I think Zell Pro or Independent Pro. He was their internet or TV champion for like months. He had great classes against Jordan Grace, Kylie Ray, David Starr. I think there was once they teased him going up against Walter before Walter before Walter officially signed with NXT UK. But like so many teases, so many great matches he had up there.
And what kind of bums me out is there's a match out there. I can't find it anymore because CZW took it down. It's Orange Cassidy before he became Orange Cassidy, and Leo Rush, and it's fucking fantastic. It's like a 30-minute match, and it's being CZW. Oh God, blood and people hanging from the rafters and shit like that. Oh my God, but it's also really technical. So I really enjoy that. And I don't like these fans if you like watch people online. I don't like Orange Cassidy. I don't like that. Then you don't like traditional wrestling because every wrestler's had a character. Look at Hulk Hogan. He was literally the ultimate heel disguised as a face the entire time.
True.
I mean, he did basically the same. He did basically the same thing that Orange Cassidy's doing. Mm-hmm. He had a few moves, what's the difference between those little kicks between the big boot besides the superpowers that he has, that he can use force, like some type of magical force to knock somebody down when this foot is over 18 inches away from their face, like a WrestleMania 6.
No matter how bad he's beaten down the match, the moment he starts to hulk up, Hulk Hogan is always seen as I'm coming back for my 5th or my 4th wind, Or even, I mean,
vitamins today, bitch.
Yeah, or even if Orange Cassidy really doesn't appeal to you, and you consider yourself a wrestling fan who has seen characters like Hogan, like Nikola Volkov, like oh my God, Harley Race, all the way to like classic wrestling with, even if you were a fan of Doink the Clown and you don't get Orange Cassidy, then you clearly have lost your touch with wrestling, because Orange Cassidy, all he has to do is just stand there and people will pop. Like, best part of AEW, whenever backstage brawls happened, my favorite was when the Bucks were brawling Pride and Powerful. They Santana opens a bathroom door. Guess who's there? It's Orange Cassidy.
And he just closes the door. He just really just looks at the camera like, what the hell? And he just closes the door. And Orange Cassidy doesn't move. But when it's going on, we're listening to the crowd in the background, and they just pop. Like that guy's got such a pop that he didn't have to do anything. Like when I first saw that Orange Cassidy was coming to AEW, I'm like, well, who the fuck is this? I don't know this guy. I've never heard of him before. And I went back and watched his matches, and I'm like, this shit's hysterical.
Oh yeah.
I'll explain what I mean, but he's basically the Bray Wyatt of AEW.
There is one match you guys need to watch. One match you guys definitely need to watch of Orange Cassidy, of how much of a character he is and how much he likes working with wrestlers. Joey Ryan's wrestling. Oh my god, I forgot what it's called. Yes, Bar Wrestling. When he got signed to AEW, he had a match at Bar Wrestling against Priscilla Kelly, and it was a
GCW match. It was for GCW.
No, but it was still Bar Wrestling though. But when they came out, they were both wearing each other's attire. Presley PK came out dressed as Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy came out dressed as PK's attire with the whole setup. I mean, if you just look at some fan recordings of the entrances, Orange Cassidy, even dressed in ladies' undergarments, he doesn't give a fuck. He's still the same character.
Well, look up. Well, there's another one. It's Joey Janela and Orange Cassidy. Joey Janela comes out dressed up like Orange Cassidy, and literally the whole time does the whole Orange Cassidy spiel, and they go back and forth just as Orange Cassidy. It's hysterical, and the pop. It was at some kind of like gym or whatever. It was a small thing, but he gets this pop that just you can't. I don't even know like. Bray Wyatt comes to mind, the way he the way he got the pop, like, yeah.
I mean, when Bray was still hot.
He gets the kind of pop. I can't like it. It's unheard of.
He got the same size. He got the same size pop that the Hardys got when they came back at WrestleMania 33, like just this, or when Edge came back in the Royal Rumble, like it's just, and it's a gold mine, y'all, like straight up.
But this is a gold mine that AEW is taking their time with. They're doing a good job. They're just having him appear. So when he did walk out to challenge Pac, guess what happened? People lost their crap. When he showed up there. Yeah.
I lost my shit. And I sat here at home and watched it and lost my shit during that match. Because they're like, oh, Orange Cassidy's going to try. I went, how much is he going to try? Like, and I went back and heard an interview with Cody with Pro Wrestling Sheet where he's like, we're going to take our time with him. We're going to let him resonate. And then when it's time, he'll pop.
Oh, yeah.
And like, I love the fact he comes out, especially when some wrestlers like play along with it. When he barely kicks them, they like act like they just kick their leg off and shit. It's great.
Like my favorite part is still looking at the first Double or Nothing of that Battle Royal. He shows up as the 31st man, Tommy Dreamer. I mean, the movie's giving those time kicks. He's just. Like when you have even Pac, even as much of a bastard he's portrayed as a heel, when he's just sitting there, he just stands there and just see Cassidy do that. I think it's still funny. And then when he does boot Cassidy in the face, the heat immediately he gets like that.
Oh God. Yeah, like you could hear people when he kicked him, yeah, and then Pac would kick him back, no. And you could just hear the pure, unadulterated love for that character. It is amazing. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually they put the title on him, not the like TV title on Orange Cassidy, and just and he doesn't have to completely win like all the time. Like he doesn't have to come out and just Lance Archer or somebody, but just give him the title and let him kind of if he's got a match, make it where it's a huge build up to it, and then have it pop. And you can even just occasionally just to get that title over because it will.
Hey, are they ever going to do anything with that ring?
I don't know.
The dynamite ring.
Yeah, that dynasty ring or whatever it was. Because
I don't think they are. I really don't think they are. I mean, after it got put on MJF, it looked like to me it was only used for his setup rivalry with Cody, just to get him heat. Because look, the moment he betrayed Cody, they had to get put a gap on this thing. They had to stretch it out. So that's what the Dynamite ring felt to me. It was just there for, just to give MJF something. If they do bring it back, it's really going to have to mean something. Because let's say the Dynamite ring can kind of. Oh no, go ahead.
I like the ring with MJF because, he could take it off like he does go into the ring with Wardlow, and then Wardlow slips it on, just like the brass nuts with oh Jesus, what was his name? He's there you go with William Regal. Something that is lurking in the background and will eventually come into play, and just plop, and that's it.
See, I thought it was going to give him some type of title shot when they first won it.
I did too, but I kind of like it as kind of one of those, William Regal's brass knucks, just something that's lurking in the background, and if you get hit with it, you're done.
I kind of like how the fact it could be a trophy, kind of like, even though I hate what WWE does with their greatest in the world and the best tag team in the world, that Dynamite ring can be set up as a trophy that can only be won by heels. It can only be won by heels. I like that idea.
If they are the best tag team in the world, why did they get fired? Oh, damn, shots fired at WWE.
No. With all that, though, like I said, if they do continue with that Dynamite ring, it can be used as a way to just, put heat on heels, because let's be honest, a face doesn't need like a $45,000 ring to validate themselves. A heel does.
Right. And what I kind of like about that idea, though, too, is they could use it kind of like they do with King of the Ring, where, somebody needs the heat. Kind of like they did with Baron Corbin. He was starting to lose shit, so they gave him that. And he's worn that, look at me, I am, God, basically.
Yes. The
it's lost it already. They
have truly misused it. They've destroyed it. I mean, they forgot the purpose. I think Vince has solely forgotten the purpose of that King of the Ring, like he had earlier, to help establish new stars. Instead,
they could do something with it, man. They don't do anything. It's like, oh, I won the King of the Ring. Now I have a new gimmick for the next year. It's exactly stupid to me. Like, this is what I would do. If you're going to be making the King of the Ring tournament, you're going to give someone the title of 2000 blah, blah, King of the Ring, give them something special. Make them the King of the Ring. Think about it. King of the Ring. Make all the stipulations in any match that they have because they're the King of the Ring.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be an interesting take.
Only wrestler that I know that truly was able to take advantage of that was Booker T. Because the moment not only did he give himself King Booker, he ran with it, giving himself a court. And guess what that happened? It led to him getting getting the World Heavyweight title, and he ends up and he has that belt for a long time. And even when WWE did their little champions versus the champion of champions match, who wins? Booker T. That's the only time King of the Ring validated him. After that, it was just, I'm going to have this gimmick. And look what it did for Sheamus. Look what it did for Barrett. Look what it did for Regal. It gave them nothing.
But look what it did though for Stone Cold though too. It gave us Austin 316.
Oh yeah, I was mentioning more recently, more like 2000 recently. Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is they need to run with that. So yeah, apparently, gentlemen, we have definitely got some bias going towards AEW right now because WWE is basically the same show over and over again.
I think it'll get better. I think it will. It's just Vince. We're dead. I'm like a dead horse saying this over and over again to friends, to Reddit posts. Vince needs to give up 85% control and then maybe we'll see something different move along, or get rid of their stupid little structure setup, like how when Matt Hardy talked about in his interview with Jericho, he pitches an idea to somebody. Oh, they got to run over with someone, an executive. Then they take it to Vince instead of Matt's been there the longest. He can just strictly talk to Vince. Instead, he has to go through 2 or 3 guys.
Yeah, Vince is going to go to prison.
Yeah. I was gonna say let's wind it up, but you know what? Let's hit one more topic before we call it a night, and we'll get the card to Money in the Bank, and then I'm assuming, gentlemen, you'll join me again next week so we can continue this wrestling chat.
Yeah. I'd like to come back. Yeah.
Broken Matt Hardy, yes or no?
Damascus,
yeah, I would say yeah.
I'm gonna say yes, but only because of the last video where Matt Hardy, the real Matt Hardy, did the promo. He did like the interview.
I like that, the back and forth. So, okay, now to lead me to my second to last question. Do we see Damascus and Matt Hardy kind of like they do with Bray Wyatt, where you've got The Fiend and then Bray Wyatt?
I personally think no, because with Matt, since this is going to be his baby, he's going to do it how he wants. So if that ever does happen, it's going to be sort of like what he does with with the Final Deletion, tag team Apocalypto. He's going to have situations like that, bring back the Lake of Reincarnation, or it's like what we just did. They brought back, oh my God, I'm forgetting the drone. Hold on. Vanguard 1. He's going to add bits and pieces of it back in. So to where finally down the line, we're going to see the full entourage. Vanguard 1, Senior Benjamin, Queen Rebby, King Maxwell, Lord Wolfgang. And now with this, I don't know what he's going to name his other son. I think he's named his other son General. But yeah, he's going to make a full cavalcade out of this. And guess what, guys? It's going to be fucking awesome because Matt's in control. He knows exactly who's going to have fun with, who he wants to work with, who he's going to want to help put over. Because in his interview with Jericho, he mainly said he had no problem putting other wrestlers over, putting on top if there was a good story behind it. And I think Matt would love to do that, especially with the carte blanche he's given with the Bucks and Tony Khan.
I do want to see a Final Deletion match between Jericho and Matt Hardy. I do see that coming down the pipeline eventually. It's going to be a full-on cinematic match.
Hey, could you imagine how many times Jericho would go into the Lake of Reincarnation? He has so many different...
He could come back out. We could actually see Y2J.
Every time he goes into the Lake of Reincarnation, they do a countdown from when he comes back out.
Oh, wait. Hold on, guys. Since we're on the topic of Jericho has said on some social media posts that there is a wrestler that he would love to do a retirement match up against. I haven't followed through on it, but mainly because I don't have Twitter, and I'm glad I don't. But
would you like to know who it is?
Yeah.
It is Lance Storm.
Yeah. Oh my God. I saw his name tag in a post. I thought he was just coming. I think that would be
a hell of a match.
Yeah, if Lance can go. I'm sure he can. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be a 20
panel. I don't
think it'll be a 20 or 30 minute blockbuster, but if Lance would accept, I think he's going to do his best to make it a very good technical match to where both of those men can get their shit in, or at least be able to do some psychological storytelling, because Lance Storm really wasn't given the fair shake in WWE. I mean, look, there was some good storylines with him, but it was pretty clear before he closed his school, he produced so many wrestlers from his wrestling academy that it was a crime to realize that you had something here. Of course, God, I'm being a dead horse again. Look, WWE, yeah, it's either they have to like somebody or if they have a certain look to follow through. But every now and then, Lance could have been that one talent to help really build a strong mid card, which is one thing I think that WWE is missing. And I think hopefully this TNT Championship is going to build them a strong, not like mid card way, but help build a second tier level of wrestlers. So when they start producing opponents for either Moxley or whoever else has that title, we'll have like a full list here of people to pick, to really pick and choose.
Yeah, and that's what they need is something, unfortunately, for the guys like, I hate to say it, but Darby or Jimmy Havoc, or, it's something for them to do. Sammy Guevara, I would have really liked to have seen this title on Sammy Guevara. The kid has got massive talent, and he's hysterical. So I like the idea of this title, or even just something that they can help push the lower tier guys that may not get quite as much TV time, and they can, and that's a title you could see, defended on Dark or being the Elite, or
Yeah, I would love that. I mean, like Kenny has been defending his AAA championship on Dark a couple of times and on Dynamite, so that could be fantastic.
That match between Sammy and Kenny was fantastic, and there were a few times that I thought Kenny was going to get pinned for 3, and I'm like, it's done. He fucking kicked out, and then they kept going, and I'm just like, AEW's, now that they've gotten their feet under them, they're going somewhere.
Oh yeah, they're definitely going somewhere, and especially, man, if things, oh my gosh, like think about it. They said whoever wants their release can get their release. What if Roman Reigns asked for his release?
Damn, we could partially see the Shield return.
But I mean, he could go to AEW, and John Moxley has said it himself. He said it in an interview. He said it's not his fault. He said if you let him be himself, he can get over, because he's cool. He's like one of the coolest dudes ever. And like you can tell if you ever watch Roman Reigns promo.
Oh no, yeah. I usually when he was talking about his leukemia coming back, he had no script. He was talking as himself. Yeah, he cared. He's very well spoken. He's really able to hold himself as a person down. Great. I mean, I wish there really were more moments like that, to where just throw out the damn script and let them talk. You'll see them shine.
Like Mox at the end of Revolution when he won. I mean, he's already come out and said, I was fucking half concussed. I don't really remember. He's like, when I took that poll, he's like, I didn't mean to take it quite as hard, but it was a championship match. And he's like, I was half concussed, and I got to the back, and first things out of Tony Khan's mouth was, God damn, that was great. And it's like, some of these wrestlers may need, bullet points, hit this point, hit this point, hit this point. But if they don't, that's what I like about AEW. They're like,
let them
go for it. And it feels more real. But what about this? A heel version of Roman Reigns. I mean, just true hardcore heel Roman going after Mox.
Well, he was a heel when he was a part of their their training programs in FCW. He went under the name The Boss in there, and I've seen people have been sharing a couple of promos of heel Roman Reigns, so I think it is possible. Even on NXT,
I'd want to see it be Moxley wins a big match. He defends his title. He gets the title defended. He's celebrating in the ring. I want to see.
And then the lights go out. The lights go.
I want to see turtleneck, pants, mask. You know what I'm saying? Black turtleneck, black pants, mask, like full mask. And he runs in and he spears the shit out of him. And then he gets up and then he does the whole. And then everybody's like, what?
That would that would blow the roof off.
That would be the biggest insult and steal that AEW had did to WWE if that happened. I mean, just like how Moxley did. That's like how they got Moxley. They do that with Roman. My God, the boards will go crazy, especially. Or hell, what if Roman, just for the hell of it, decides instead of doing like AEW or New Japan, he decides to maybe try his hand out at Ring of Honor, really face the real smarks down there. See how he holds himself up. Going up against Jay Lethal, Matt Taven, PCO, the Briscoes. Oh, you see him going up against those people.
I wish he wouldn't, though. He would definitely go where the money is.
Yeah,
there's only one other company that got the big money.
I'd love to see him in New Japan though too. Though that would be an interesting place for him.
New Japan? Oh yeah. I'd like to see some big matches. I think that he could have a good match with Ishii. I mean, who doesn't? But still, I think Ishii, Will Ospreay.
That would be.
That is one man I am waiting to see if he's gonna show up. Will Ospreay, because that guy, it doesn't matter where he is, Rev Pro, Rev Pro, New Japan, going to Ring of Honor. This guy, he has so much charisma coming off of his pinky. I mean, I just watched his match going up against when he wrestled his girlfriend Bea Priestley. I still laugh when the ring announcer is doing the introductions. It's fantastic. I mean, she's calling him like he's the aerial assassin, the three-time junior heavyweight champion, the Ridge Repress. And when she's doing an announcement, he's always following up. He's like, aerial assassin, put him on the map. And then my favorite one, she botches by saying he's Bea Priestley's girlfriend, and he follows up by going, if she plays the cards right. And then those two, and he and Bea have a great match, and then he does like an after talking about how much he loves Bea Priestley. First time he saw her wrestle, how she botches a Canadian destroyer, and she's smirking in the corner. Like, those two are so fantastic, and the fact that Bea Priestley is occasionally wrestling on Dark, just seeing those two show up together would be awesome.
The sky's the limit. Like, I was reading something. If AEW made it a year and it was continuous, they're gonna run with it, and they already have. That opening video for Mox, we knew he was gone. It was pretty much set in stone. He was going to AEW. But that at midnight, when the 90-day no compete clause came up, and that video hit the web, I got a private message from, I didn't remember who it was. They're like, you have to watch this. And just that whole scene was great. You know, like, we could see that something like that with the Revival, you know, just once that 90-day but I don't think they have one. That's where I'm kind of, I didn't think they did.
They haven't been competing on live shows or anything. They have been sitting out their contract. I mean,
they got released, but it was like a full release. I don't know exactly what happened. Honestly, I'm hoping Edge had something to do with it. Like,
he might have. What do you guys think of that? Do you think Brian Cage is coming to AEW? Super says he's been missing from Impact. I don't think so. I don't really want to see Brian Cage in AEW. I would rather see him in Impact, because what they did is they did a block tape. They took like a weekend and did like 2 months worth of matches recorded, and they're just releasing them just so they can keep their show going.
Yeah. I personally, I mean, I won't mind if he shows up like the way Jeff Cobb showed up, just having a one-off match on Dynamite. But Cobb? I think, yeah, Jeff Cobb, yeah.
Time. He's full-time. Like, he is completely signed with AEW now.
Really? Because I thought he was still the Ring of Honor television champion.
He is, but he's got an open contract with both, I believe.
Okay, it works. Because I know he was still the Ring of Honor television champion, so I didn't think he was not going to completely be there at AEW. I thought
and who probably set that up, I wonder?
Well, Jericho has been saying he has been very forthcoming.
The villain. Come on now. We already know that Marty Scurll and the Bucks, you know, they've got the Bullet Club, the Elite.
Yeah, but Scurll is all about business. He is all about business. I mean, because the moment he did have his contract was coming up with Ring of Honor, everyone assumed he'd go to AEW, but no. He decided to stay where he was. I mean, yes, by insistence by the Bucks, but look at what he's done. I mean, if you've seen his NWA matches against Nick Aldis, just the fact he walked in on that crowd, they went nuts the way he shows up. And then again, back on Ring of Honor. I mean, he's doing something. I love his stuff with Flip Gordon. I do love those two together.
Okay. Here's a what if. What if it Double or Nothing coming up? Double or Nothing. No.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. I always get that one in all
All Out is the one in October, no, in August that they're going to do in Chicago. But Double or Nothing, it's set in Las Vegas.
Well, no, it's not officially been said. They haven't said where it's going to be yet.
Because this whole shutdown, everything. Yeah, I understand.
What if? Just hear me out. After the Bucks match, because they're going to have a match at Double or Nothing. Hell, it could be another. It could be another match against Hangman and Kenny Omega. Whatever. All of a sudden, the lights start to go down, and the spotlight hits the stage, and Marty Scurll comes out wearing the mask and his umbrella, and the Villain Enterprises just slowly make their way to the ring, kind of like they should have done with Dark Order. Just have him slowly come down to the ring, put that can umbrella over his shoulder, and just drop just something. And just when the Bucks turn around to say something, he just clocks them with that. And there we go. We have almost a Ring of Honor invasion coming up.
I like all of that, but there's only one thing I would change.
What's that?
The person that Marty Scurll would attack. I would have him attack Matt Hardy.
Ooh, okay, but you get the idea.
Right. No, you just got me all into it now. So
because you know Marty Scurll, he just walked for that ring. Because it doesn't matter if he's coming downstairs or the ramp. Him and Villain Enterprises are coming down. They're coming down like a boss. They're gonna come slow. They're not gonna be Undertaker 30 minutes to get to the ring slow, but they're just methodically gonna walk to the ring, and then just walk up. And he pulls the mic over, says something, and then just drops somebody. Then you could even have like the Elite guys going over and taking over, and then even have like a deal behind the scenes where it's the Inner Circle working with Villain Enterprises, and you just see this war, and then it ends up instead of the blood and guts match being the Elite versus the Inner Circle, have it, the Elite versus Villain Enterprises. There's your fantasy booking for. There's your fantasy.
What I was going to say Broken Matt is because he takes things. I don't know how he gets away with it, but he takes things and uses it for his own story, like Abigail. Like Abigail is in his own canon now. I could totally see him looking at Marty and be like, referring to him from somebody from like 4,000, like 2,500 years ago. I see that you chose this vessel, huh? So like he's not really facing Marty Scurll. He's fighting whoever he decides that's going to be.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That is true, because I love that, because that promo he did with Jericho. He goes, "Yes, you are maker of pain, but I still remember you through our battles in ancient Egypt, in Indonesia." Or the
hold of asses. You guys are all
hold of the ass.
Hold of the ass. And only Matt Hardy could get away with saying something the way he did. He's like, "You are truly the whole of the ass," and people went nuts. And I love that. And I love the way that they built up him going to AEW. I mean, it was pretty much a given. But then all of a sudden he's sitting there rocking back and forth, and I'm being the Elite. You get the phone call. Yeah, okay, we're on the road. We were gonna go home, but that's fine, And then Matt and Nick look at each other and they go, "Well, we got to make a stop on the way home." And then all of a sudden it ties right into Free the Delete.
It was beautiful. That's what I love about those guys. They know how to use that stuff for
their storytelling. It's fantastic.
Oh, for sure. Like, did you guys watch the Being the Elite special? We did 200 episodes where they did like a bunch of tributes and stuff like that.
Yeah, where they were fixing, and then they're like, "Well, we're done," and then all of a sudden they're like, "No, we're not." And it was.
Pretty much kind of like how they did with 100. Like at first it was like, "No, it's over, we're done," and then of course later on it's like, "Yeah, what about your failing merch sales?" Okay, the show's coming back.
Okay.
And then I loved how they did this one. Well, we got so many loose storylines here. Am I gonna break my losing streak? What's going on with Hangman? I mean, is Private Party gonna find out who attacked them?
Okay. Who gets a win first, Peter Avalon or Brandon Cutler? I have a fantasy booking before you guys go. Hear me out.
We're probably going to have the same booking.
We have a match between the two of them, and they both time out. they go to a draw.
That's what I think. That's what I was thinking too. It's going to lead to a match between the both of them to where none of them wins, or they're going to actually team on Dynamite or Dark, and both of them get pinned again, and it's going to lead to them having a match at All Out. So all on the table. Either one of them wins or one of them walks away from AEW. And then they still pull the rug on everybody. It's like, are you kidding me? We couldn't even win under that situation. And then Brandon Cutler turns heel. All
right.
No, I don't want to see Brandon Cutler turn heel.
I got some. I'm going to fantasy book that because you just gave me a bunch of ideas too.
Ooh, so hit it, big man.
Everything you just said in the beginning stays true. They do all that losing stuff. And then the other librarian, whatever, Leva Bates, she finally breaks through to them. She'll start really getting them to read books about unity and working together. And then finally, I think that they'll come together as a babyface tag team and they'll win their first match together as a tag team.
And she's like their manager, their valet manager. I like that. And if you go back and watch her matches, she's really good. Like she can really wrestle, and she is selling the shit out of that whole librarian persona.
Yeah, she's like she's huge into characters. The moment she has something, until the moment she drops it, or until they want to turn her, she will carry that character until like the flame goes out. And I love that. They even made fun of it too in BTE. Like they're the librarian. Peter's like, I'm not feeling this. I don't think this is for us. And Lee was like, oh come on, you kidding me? We just gotta work hard, stay to the script. Really digging on like another WWE shot, but. It's just those situations where actually it's a response to the fans, because I remember the fans did not like this whole librarian gimmick, and it was hilarious.
It's funny. I think
it's funny too. I like the fact that
perfect tweener. Like it makes a perfect tweener because, if Peter was wrestling and actually doing really good, she could slide him a book and he could pick it up and clock somebody, or she could get on the apron and put a book in somebody's face or something along those lines. And they could still have heel-like tendencies, but they can also still be almost baby faces at the same time.
Yeah, but she calls her children.
Like when
they got that love story happening right now. It's like they're just starting it. The whole they love each other and want to be together type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love the fact, like when she was kidnapped by the Inner Circle, like she's reading them books and shit, and they're all just sitting there. Like I'm a huge fan of like the Bubbly Bunch and shit like that. Like their whole that whole scene where they had the fight and everything, and they had Lou Ferrigno and Corey Taylor, and
I didn't recognize. I literally for a second thought that was Dave Meltzer, and then also I'm thinking like, no, wait, that's Lou Ferrigno. Like how? And of course, they got Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith popping in with their Jay and Silent Bob characters.
That was great. And then Silent Bob, it had no audio.
That was so good.
And that's what I like about their storytelling is like it's the simplest thing. Going back to WWE, like the Mandy Rose and Otis storyline, it is so great. And I hope to God that they don't fumble that. Like being a big guy, I'm in shape. Round is a shape. Damn it, I don't care.
They got rid of the writer for that. They got rid of the writer who wrote that storyline, actually.
Yeah, I know, but maybe she's kind of written it up so they have, ways to follow it. I hope to God in the end Otis gets the girl and he gets to whoop the ass of
Dolph
Dolph
Ziggler.
Ziggler tomorrow night, but I don't think Otis is going to win. I think Dolph will win, but because of Sonya Deville doing something shady.
I mean, it kind of feels guaranteed. And after the promo that Sonya had did to Mandy, it's clear that even though Mandy and Otis are still a great storyline, but now with Sonya and her motivations added on there, puts a brand new dynamic to this whole thing. I mean, Dolph, he's kind of a fourth wheel, but for the right, but he's a good fourth wheel. He's not going to steal anything. He's there to be the
bring the heat.
Well, not the heat. No, he's there. He's not heat. He's pretty much warm water. He's there to help cool the tension when it gets hot, but then spark things back up when it's cold. I mean, because Otis, he's a great character. He can turn things on in a dime. Mandy, I think she's starting to find her footing again. I mean, because look, I liked her little "I'm beautiful" and I'm more beautiful than you" gimmick, but it gets stale very fast because that's been a tired gimmick constantly over. Having her with Otis changes things up because those little photos they've been doing together where Otis, he's proud to show himself and Mandy's just like standing right next to him, is fantastic. Adds more heat to Dolph Ziggler and to Sonya. It's more like, seriously? And you're asking us why when you keep posing photos like that?
I love the storyline. That's my favorite WWE storyline right now. Like,
to me, this needs to end with one of the four of them getting titles. Either Otis becoming tag team champions with Heavy Machinery with Mandy with them, or Mandy getting a rare opportunity at the SmackDown Women's Championship, which leads to a whole different angle with her, Sonya, and maybe teasing a bit of a dissension between Bayley and Sasha.
I kind of expected Sasha to be in the Money in the Bank match.
I think she's going to get another shot. I don't think it's set in stone. I mean, there's only like
there's one spot left, and it's down to Carmella or Mandy Rose, and then the last one on the SmackDown side is Otis and Dolph Ziggler.
I think Mandy's not going to get it because they're going to do a Sonya. They're going to try to push a Sonya and Mandy match at Money in the Bank. I have a feeling they're going to do that.
You know what I would have liked to have seen too would have been a Dolph verse. Okay, here let me fantasy book a match for Money in the Bank. It's Dolph versus Otis with Mandy as a special guest referee, because then they could also bring Sonya down with Dolph. Mm-hmm. And then that whole thing can just blow up. Like, make it like a no DQ match where just everything blows up. So you've got, you can continue the storytelling between Mandy and Sonya, but then you also get Otis to get his revenge on Dolph.
I can dig it.
But then Otis has to win and carry. And just, I'm sorry, but that was one of my highlights of WrestleMania, is to see that big boy carry her out, and he gets to kiss on the ramp like a boss. And
I love that moment. I love that moment, man.
And just the look on his face of 100% just straight up, I can't believe it. I did it. I got the girl. I was like, yes, that's my dog right there, big boy.
This was the conclusion I was hoping for, because I was watching WrestleMania with a couple of friends, and I thought to myself, I swear to God, if they have Mandy come out and she does a swerve on Otis to where she's healed with Sonya and she walks off with Dolph Ziggler, that is, even though that's a Vince conclusion, but it's a terrible write-off for this storyline, because then guess what? Otis is just left in the dust, and where do they go from there? But having Mandy help Otis, you continue this storyline opening to where, even though Dolph and Otis' chapter is closed, we now have the Sonya Deville chapter, to where this can stretch out to leading to an intergender tag team match between both of them.
It could happen in Money in the Bank if Sonya costs both of them. Sonya can cost, you know what I'm saying?
It could be
Mandy and
what comes after Money in the Bank? I know there's something else between Money in the Bank and SummerSlam. Isn't there something else between there?
It can't be Extreme Rules, because they got rid of that.
That's what I thought it was. I thought it was Extreme Rules. If it is,
they got rid of Extreme Rules.
They rarely use the whole gimmick of Extreme Rules because the last Extreme Rules pay-per-view, there was only one Extreme Rules match, and it barely it was barely extreme. I believe it was a ladder match. Every other match,
they had an Extreme Rules match between Seth and Becky and Lacey Evans.
The most extreme thing was when they shot the camera straight up Lacey Evans' booty hole.
Yeah.
Oof. I may go back and watch that image again tonight because god damn.
Actually, looking at her for trajectory, Lacey's trajectory, and we've said before, Lacey has improved much. I mean, to me, honestly, she is a better face than she is a heel. Because I don't mind the whole Southern nasty thing. Problem is that her military background makes it much better for her as a face.
And that's what I like that they've done is like they did the opposite with Britt Baker. You know, they took the heat that the fans were giving her and turned her heel. And then they did the opposite with Lacey Evans, where she was getting more love and the whole mother thing and made her face. I personally, I would like to see her win the briefcase. That's just I know I'm dreaming here, but I'd like to see her get the briefcase.
No, that's a good one. No, I mean, I would not say no to her getting the briefcase. I mean, she seems like a good choice.
She could be a good champion too. Like I'm kind of tired of the half heel, half face Bailey because she tries to do this heelish shit and it really doesn't work.
I think she's full-fledged heel.
She does face-esque things though, kind of still. She tries to go full heel and it just doesn't seem to work. I think it's time to push past that and put the briefcase on just a straight baby, or put the belt on a straight baby face, and let's get, because Becky's going away. They've already said when they, everything comes back down, her and Seth are going away for a while, and they're going to take some time. So let's get some baby faces in there. And I like Drew McIntyre's baby face turn, his face turn. I didn't even see it coming. It just one night he started that Claymore kick countdown, and he just went face.
It was that my son, he watches, but when he seen the Claymore kick, he was like, "Dad, man," he was like, "I forgot how brutal that move is."
Yeah,
it's like you got Cedric Alexander doing backflips.
Caleb and I were watching the Royal Rumble, and when he Claymore kicked Brock Lesnar over the top, my son was like, I mean, and I'm sorry, but Brock Lesnar sold that like a champ. Like you knew when he got Claymore kicked over, you knew it was kind of one of those, you knew he was going to win. But it's that whole, Brock sold it like a champ.
Even the Big Show, when they did that little, that put together championship match, he was able to sell that very well too. And
I didn't like it.
When he did that to MVP, I liked how he did that to MVP. MVP, he didn't just flip; he blasted himself back. He's like, kick me into next year.
MVP has become kind of like the I don't even know how to put it, but like the hero of Raw. Like he's come back, and like anytime he sells something, it's gold. Like he has not lost his mic skills.
Oh no, he has not.
And I love that new ring gear, that whole Black Panther ring gear he's got.
Killmonger, yeah, he dresses up like Killmonger,
which is dope. And then hearing Booker T on commentary, like trying to talk nerd, it was fucking hysterical. And JB3 just got so mad he just straight up slapped his camera, ladies and gentlemen. Like, fuck this noise. It's kind of nice being able to talk wrestling again. So we've got kind of running out of things to talk about right now, gentlemen. Is there anything that kind of jumps out that you want to hit before we call it a night?
I just real quick, because I do gotta hurry up and call it a night soon.
Yeah, the kid's passed out, and I kind of got to get him in bed, so I feel you.
It's almost midnight where I am.
But yeah, we will absolutely, I promise, start just like we did tonight, next week, because we got to go through the Money in the Bank card. And we'll definitely. So, gentlemen, absolutely. Before he hits us with our final topic of the night, I absolutely thank you both for coming out and hanging out. Like I said, next week we will drop our Money in the Bank predictions because it's going to get interesting. Well, and then we'll have some more AEW to talk about, I'm sure. But JB3, hit us with our final topic tonight, brother.
Final topic is the star. You got Drew McIntyre who's on top right now, but someone else is going to be the main star by the end of this year. And I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you who he's going to be. And he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And his name is Aleister Black.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been wanting Aleister Black to get a big push after his feud with Murphy. I mean, he should have gotten when Andrade. Look, I don't know what the rules on when wrestlers who are belt holders get injured, because before they used to enforce if you don't defend in 30 days, you drop it. Andrade has had wellness suspension and an injury to where he's held that belt longer than needed. So I thought Aleister Black should be the U.S. champion. Not just give it to him, but he could. We've all seen his matches, right? We know he can bring good matches. The way he fights, he can mesh with different styles. So putting that belt on him, we'll get new competitors. We'll get new opportunities. Hell, his match against Apollo Crews, if that was for the United States Championship, that would have been one of the most
5
talked
stars.
about matches. Yes.
5 stars.
It was a talked about match, but if that was for a championship belt, trust me. Oh no! Every fan would have been posting on Twitter, sending responses to WWE social media accounts. Put Apollo Crews to the moon. Finally, give this guy his chance.
I think Apollo and Aleister Black will definitely get their pushes. I don't personally. I don't want to see Apollo Crews in the title picture, in the Universal title or whatever you want to call it is now. Whatever titles that the black strap title at Raw. Whatever.
It's just the simple WWE Championship.
I know. I'm just being a smart ass.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Apollo in that picture just because I don't think it'll play right. I'd love to see him stay with the U.S. title, or if he goes to SmackDown, the Intercontinental title, what have you. But I agree 100%. I think sometime by the end of the year, we will have a headlining pay-per-view where it is Drew McIntyre versus Aleister Black for that title. Whether he walks out with it or not, I'm not sure. But I love Aleister Black, and I love the fact that you can hear Zelina Vega when she has to rip on him. You could kind of hear her trying not to, but like the torment. She knows it's a part of the job, but that's her husband she's bagging on. It's fun.
Yeah, do you guys remember the episode of NXT TV where it's during the time where Johnny or someone had attacked Aleister Black in the parking lot and he was out for a long time, and Nikki Cross was like, it was the one where he came back at the end, and Nikki Cross is like, he's coming, he's here.
Yes, I remember that.
No,
and then he showed up, and it was like freaking chaos.
Oh, Aleister Black, he was giving kicks. He was just giving roundhouse kicks.
Okay, if you guys find
Aleister Black right there, oh my gosh. That was
match against Gargano at TakeOver. My God, brilliant. And to the end of the line where he says, I absolve you of your sins, and giving him a second black mass. Yes. I'm looking forward to see something like that against
Black Mass. I love the fact they're selling that Black Mass as like just unruly, like the pedigree with Triple H. If you get that, you're done. Or the Rock Bottom, or the People's Elbow. Or
the pedigree. Oh my gosh. I mean, you get hit with the pedigree, he could wait 21, 22, 23 seconds before it kills you.
And that's what they're doing with the Black Mass too, is that you get hit with that, you're done. You're straight up
the smartest thing.
And I love that. And I love that fact, like when the guys are on his knees, he takes his foot and brings them up to their standing, and then pops them with the black mass. It is fantastic. So on that note, gentlemen, I agree with JB3. Sometime this year we will definitely see. I could even see Aleister Black walking out of Money in the Bank holding that contract.
Yeah,
because that is a Paul Heyman move right there. Because we all have to agree, Paul Heyman is definitely righting the wrongs on Raw. So, gentlemen, I was Matty-G for the boy JB3. Mister, tell us where people can find you online, homie.
You can find me in Nerd Entertainment Network, Combat Wrestling Trivia. You know, we do things over there. We mostly do trivia, and you guys are pretty aware, but we also have, you know, some watch-alongs and a couple other things. Nerd Entertainment Network, we talk about a bunch of different things, from wrestling to Marvel to Star Wars to old movies to anything that nerds just love. And that's where you can find me. You can find me at Nerd Entertainment Network.
All right. I will absolutely myself for Subrath will put a link to it, to the Nerd Network, Nerd Entertainment Network in the description. Mr. Payne, or Painmaker as you will be called on this show, for I, Matty-G, have dubbed it. You, sir, on this show will now be known as the Painmaker. Mr. Painmaker, where can people find you?
Well, hopefully people can find me here next week on Suplex City Chats. If not, check me out on anything on TMG. I've been judging a lot of debate matches, hoping to once again get back in the ring and debate either wrestling, video games, nerd talk, or movies themselves. And yeah, I mean, people do fancy some trivias. People can check out a place called Jack of All Trivia. I did a few matches. I fought for a wrestling championship. I did a trivia on movies, and hopefully soon I did a geek style team match on all nerd and geek movies with a few friends. So people can keep their eyes open on that end. Until then, hit me up on Facebook and we can talk wrestling. You can message me up.
Alrighty. And I am Matty-G. I am obviously the host with the most. Saturday night, you can find me running After Dark Takeover. Basically, we're going to be doing a little bit of a in memory of a couple of recent actors that have passed away. Also, on top of that, we are going to be promoting the Nerd Entertainment Network. So Mr. JB3, if he's got the time, can jump in and kind of promote that, as well as a new one coming up called Titan Trivia. So keep a lookout for that. Like I said, next week we will 100% be back, because you can't watch a pay-per-view until we tell you who we think's going to win. You can find me at Facebook at Matt Graham. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope this Suplex City chat hit you as hard as it hit me. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, take that bump like a champ.